Hello, and welcome to our exploration of one of the nature's most delightful and essential creations, that is fruits. At their core, fruits are the mature, ripened ovaries of the flowering plants known as the angiosperms, which enclose the seeds. They represent the culmination of successful reproductive process developing after the flower has been pollinated and fertilized. While their primary biological role is to protect the developing seeds and facilitate their dispersal, ensuring the next generation of plants can thrive, they do so in an astonishing array of shapes, size, colors, and flavors. This incredible diversity is not just for our culinary pleasure. It is a testament to millions of years of evolution optimizing strategies for the seed spread across various environments. From their juicy berries that entice animals to the winged seeds carried by the wind. Each fruit type is a marvel of adaptation, designed to give its offspring the best chance of survival. Join us as we explore the fascinating world of fruits in angiosperm. Fruits are the ripened ovaries of the flowering plants enclosing the seeds. A fruit consists of two main parts, that is, seeds and pericarp. The seed contains the embryo, which is the developing plant, and the endosperm, which provides nourishment. The seed coat protects the seed. The pericarp is the entire fruit wall which develops from the ovary wall of the flower after fertilization. It is a part of the fruit that surrounds and protects the seed or the seeds. In many fruits, the pericarp differentiates into three distinct layers, although these layers can vary greatly in thickness, texture, and distinctiveness depending on the fruit types. The three different layers are exocarp or the epicarp. This is the outermost layer of the pericarp, often referred to as the skin or peel of the fruit. Its primary function is to protect against the pests, diseases, and environmental factors like desiccation. In some fruits like citrus, the fruit it is thicker and contains oils. Mesocarp is the middle layer of the pericarp, located between the exocarp and endocarp. It is often fleshy, juicy, and edible. In dry fruit, the mesocarp can be thin and papery or fibrous. The endocarp is the innermost layer of the pericarp, is directly surrounding the seeds. Its texture varies greatly depending on the fruit type. In drupes like peaches and cherries, the endocarp is hard and stony, forming the pit or stone. It encloses the seeds. In berries like tomatoes, it can be soft and thin, while in citrus fruits, it forms juicy segments that contain the pulp vesicles. Fruits in angiosperms, which develop from the ripened ovary of a flower, are broadly categorized based on their development and characteristics. The three primary classifications are simple, aggregate, and multiple fruits. The simple fruits originate from a single ovary within a single flower. These are further divided into fleshy fruits where the pericarp becomes soft and succulent at maturity, like berries, drupe, pomes, pepo, and hesperidium, and dry fruits where the pericarp is dry at maturity. The dry fruits can be dehiscent, that is splitting open into release seeds like legumes and capsules, or indehiscent, which will not split open, such as achenes, nuts, and grains. Aggregate fruits develop from the single flower that possesses multiple separate carpels. Each carpel forms a single fruitlet, and these fruitlets cluster together to form a single aggregate structure. The examples include aggregates of follicles, berries, drupes, and achenes borne on the fleshy receptacle. Multiple fruits, on the other hand, arise from the fusion of ovaries from the several flowers within an entire inflorescence. As an individual flower mature into fruitlets, they fuse to form a single larger fruit. Soros and Syconus are the multiple fruits where the entire structure is composite of many individual fruits. In fleshy simple fruit, the entire pericarp or a significant portion of it is soft and succulent at maturity. A berry fruit develops from a bicarpellary or multicarpellary syncarpous ovary. Here the epicarp is thin, the mesocarp and endocarp remain undifferentiated. They form pulp in which the seeds are embedded. The examples are tomato, grapes, brinjal, etc. The drupe develops from monocarpillary superior ovary. It is usually one-seeded. Pericarp is differentiated into outer skinny epicarp, fleshy and pulpy mesocarp, and hard and stony endocarp around the seed. The examples are mango and coconut. In mango, the fleshy mesocarp is the part we eat and the hard pit encloses the seed. Whereas in coconuts, the mesocarp is fibrous. The hard shell is the endocarp and the white flesh is the endosperm surrounding the seed. Pepo develops from the tricarpillary inferior ovary. The pericarp runs leathery or woody which encloses fleshy mesocarp and smooth endocarp. It is typically associated with the family Cucurbitaceae. The seeds are attached to the walls of the ovary, that is on parietal placentation. Examples are cucumber, watermelon, pumpkin, etc. Hesperidium is a type of fruit that is characteristic of the citrus family, that is Rutaceae. Fruit develops from multicarpillary, multilocular syncarpous superior ovary. The fruit wall is differentiated into leathery epicarp with the oil glands. A middle fibrous mesocarp. The endocarp forms distinct chambers containing juicy hairs. The examples are orange, lemon, etc. Pome develops from multicarpillary syncarpous inferior ovary. The receptacle also develops along with the ovary and becomes fleshy, enclosing the true fruit. In pome, the epicarp is thin, skin-like, and endocarp is cartilaginous. Example is apple and pear. In Balusta, the fleshy fruit develops from the multicarpillary, multilocular inferior ovary, whose pericarp is tough and leathery. Epicarp is outermost layer forming the smooth, tough and leathery skin. Mesocarp is inner, spongy, white tissue, where the endocarp forms the thin, papery membrane that enclose the individual clusters of seeds within each chamber. The calyx, the outermost part of the flower, persists as crown on the top of the fruit. Example is pomegranate. In dry fruits, the pericarp is dry and not differentiated into epicarp, mesocarp, and endocarp. It is further subdivided into three types, that is dry dehiscent, dry indehiscent, and schizocarpic fruits. In dry dehiscent fruit, the pericarp is dry and splits open along the sutures to liberate seeds. They can be further classified into following types. The first one is the follicle. A follicle is a dry dehiscent fruit that develops from a single carpel and opens along a single suture that releases seeds. It is characterized by its single chambered structure and the way it splits open to disperse its contents. Examples are calotropis and certain species of magnolia. Legume is a simple dry fruit that develops from a single carpel and usually splits open along the two seams, that is dorsal and ventral sutures. A legume is produced by plants in the family Fabaceae. Legumes are also referred to as pod fruits, and when used as dry seed, they may be called as the pulses. Examples include beans, peas, lentils, and soybeans. A siliqua is a type of dry fruit, specifically a long, narrow pod characteristic of the plant's Brassicaceae. It develops from a superior bicarpellary ovary and dehisces along the two sutures to release seeds, often leaving behind a persistent partition called a rhipium or a false septum. The example is mustard. Silicosa is a short, flattened, and broader silic. It also splits open along the two sutures with the seeds attached to the rhipium. The most common example is shepherd's purse or Capsella bursa pastoris. The capsule fruit develops from multicarpillary syncarpous superior ovary. The capsule contains multiple seeds in chambers called locules, separated by the septa. The capsules exhibit various ways of opening, like septicidal capsule, where the splitting occurs along the septa, as in case of Aristolochia. In loculicidal capsule, the splitting along the locules and the wall remains attached to the septa, as in case of Abilemascus esculenta, that is lady's finger. In septifragal capsule, the splitting occurs so that the walls fall off, leaving the seeds attached to the central axis. Example is datura. In poricidal capsule, dehiscence occurs through the terminal pores, as in case of papaver. In denticidal capsule, the opening occurs at the top, exposing the number of teeth-like projections. Example is cerastium. In circumsessile or pyxidium capsule, the dehiscence occurs transversely so that it comes off as a lid or a operculum. Example is Anargelis. Dry indehiscent fruits are single-seeded fruit that do not open to release their seeds when mature. Instead, the seed remains enclosed within the pericarp until germination or decay. An achene is a small, dry, one-seeded fruit that does not split open at maturity. It is characterized by the seed being attached to the fruit wall at one point. Example are clematis and delphinium. A cypsela is a dry one-seeded fruit that develops from the inferior ovary, characteristic of the plants in Asteraceae or Compositae, such as the sunflowers and dandelions. It is similar to an achene, but it distinguished by its origin from an inferior ovary. The fruit wall is often fused with the seed coat. A caryopsis is a dry one-seeded fruit where the seed coat is fused with the ovary wall, making it appear as a single unit. It is commonly known as a grain or cereal and is the characteristic of the family Poaceae. The examples include wheat, rice, corn, etc. A nut is a dry single-seeded fruit that has hard woody outer shell, that is pericarp, and does not open to release the seed when ripe. The true nuts typically develop from the compound ovary. The examples are Anacardium occidental, walnut, that is Jacqueline species, and almond, that is Prunus dulcis. A samara is a dry, indehiscent, one-seeded fruit in which the pericarp develops into thin, winged structure formed from the ovary wall around the fruit. This wing helps the seed to be carried away by the wind, increasing its chances of finding a suitable place to germinate. Examples are Acer and Pterocarpus. An atricle develops from a bicarpillary unilocular syncarpous superior ovary with a pericarp loosely enclosing the seeds. Examples are Amaranthus and Chenopodium. Schizocarpic fruits are a type of dry fruit that splits into separate one-seeded parts called mericarps upon maturation. A Cremocarp develops from a bicarpillary syncarpous inferior ovary and splitting into two one-seeded segments known as mericarps. And these mericarps remain attached to the central stalk-like structure called the carpophore for some time before dispersing. The cremocarps often have persistent style and stylopodium, which are the typical of Apiaceae family. The familiar example is Coriandrum sativum. A carcerulus is a fruit that develops from bicarpillary syncarpous superior ovary and splitting into four one-seeded segments known as nutlets or mericarps. These mericarps are typically remain attached to the central axis before eventually separating. Examples are Ebutylon and Lucas. The lumentum is derived from a monocarpillary unilocular ovary, a leguminous fruit constricted between the seeds to form a number of one-seeded compartments that separate at maturity. The examples include acacia and mimosa. Regma fruit develops from a tricarpillary syncarpous superior and trilocular ovary, which splits into one-seeded cocci or mericarps which conti remain attached to the carpophore. The dehiscence occurs along the inner angles of the carpels releasing the seeds. The example is castor, that is Ricinus communis. The fruit has a characteristic spiny surface and separated into three cocci, each containing a single seed. Aggregate fruits develop from a single flower having an apocarpous pistil. Each of the free carpel is develops into a simple fruitlet. A collection of simple fruitlets make an aggregate fruit. The Etaria follicles is an aggregate fruit formed from a single flower that has multiple free carpels. Each individual carpel develops into a separate fruitlet called a follicle, and these follicles then aggregate together on a common receptacle. The example is magnolia, which produces a cone-like aggregates of follicles. In Italy of achenes, an aggregate fruit composed of multiple individual achenes clustered together. These achenes develop from the pistils of a single flower with multiple free carpels. Examples are strawberries, lotus, buttercup plants, etc. Itaria of drupes is an aggregate fruit composed of multiple small fleshy drupes, drupels or druplets clustered together on a fleshy thalamus or receptacle. The examples are raspberry, that is Rubus aedeus. Each small juicy lobe of the raspberry is an individual druplet. Another example is blackberry, that is Rubus fruticosus. In Etaria of berries, which is formed from a single flower with a multiple carpels, each carpel develops into a berry-like structure. In custard apple, Annona squamosa, and bullock's heart, that is Annona reticulata, the berries are lie embedded in the fleshy thalamus. In Artabotrys and Polyalthea, the berries are distinct and separate. A multiple fruit or composite fruit develops from a whole inflorescence along with its peduncle on which they are borne. Each flower in the inflorescence contributes to the fruitlet, and these fruitlets fuse together as they mature into a single larger fruit structure. And these fruits are also known as an infructescence. Sorosis is a fleshy multiple fruit which develops from a spike or spadix. The flower is fused together by their succulent perianth, and at the same time the axis bearing them become fleshy or juicy, and the whole inflorescence forms a compact mass. Examples include pineapple, mulberry, jackfruit, etc. A cyconus fruit, also known as a syconium, develops from a hypanthodium inflorescence, where the flowers are borne inside a fleshy, hollow, pear-shaped receptacle. The receptacle becomes fleshy and encloses numerous tiny fruits or achenes. They develop from the individual female flowers inside. The examples are fig, banyan, peepal, etc. To conclude, the fruits are the mature ovaries of the flowering plants designed to house and protect the developing seeds. Their primary biological role is to ensure these seeds are dispersed, allowing the plant species to continue. From a single flower, fruits can emerge in several forms. A simple fruit develops from a single ovary, an aggregate fruit from the multiple separate ovaries within one flower, and multiple fruit originate from an entire cluster of flowers fusing together. Beyond these structural categories, fruits are further classified by their texture, either fleshy or dry, and by how they release their seeds, whether they split open or remain closed. The incredible variety of fruit forms is a testament to the many strategies plants have evolved for seed dispersal. Each structure forms the sweet, fleshy, designed to attract the animals who then spread the seeds to the delicate wings that allow the seeds to drift on the breeze is perfectly adapted to its purpose. Understanding fruit morphology not only sheds light on the intricate process of plant reproduction but also helps us to appreciate the vast array of produce that sustains life on earth.